liquidity pool mining, yield farming, proof of work, proof of stake, consensus algorithms, proof of history, proof of concept. So in order to dumb this down, I want to explain the process of how I'm doing crypto research. And this is what really changed for me. It's that point in time where you think to yourself, like, okay, you start seeing all these different successful people in history. What did each one of those successful people do? So I started to realize that we have over a century worth of knowledge from the greatest stock investors in history. How can we analyze and see what those investors did? And is there a way to apply that to crypto? And when I watched this video from Warren Buffett, that's when everything clicked.
You don't have to be right about thousands and thousands and thousands of companies. You only have to be right about a couple. I met Bill Gates on July 5th, 1991. We were out in Seattle, and Bill said, "You've got to have a computer." And I said, "Why?" And he said, "Well," "you can do your income tax on it." I said, "I don't have any income. Berkshire doesn't pay a dividend." He said, "Well, you can keep track of your portfolio." And I said, "I only have one stock." I said, And he says, "It's going to change everything." And I said, "Well, will it change whether people chew gum?" And he said, "Well, probably not." And I said, "Well, will it change what kind of gum they chew?" And not. And I said, "Well, then I'll stick to chewing gum and you stick to computers, you know." I don't have to understand all kinds of business. There's all kinds of business I don't understand. But there's thousands of opportunities there. I did understand the Bank of America, you know. I'm able to understand some given percentage. But Ted Williams wrote a book called The Science of Hitting. And in The Science of Hitting, he's got a diagram, shows him at the plate, and he's got the strike zone divided into 77 squares, each the size of a baseball. And he says, if I only swing at pitches in my sweet zone, which he shows there, and he has what his batting average would be, which is 400. If he had to swing at low outside pitches, but still in the strike zone, his average would be 230. He said the most important thing in hitting is waiting for the right pitch. Now, he was at a disadvantage because if the count was 0-2 or 1-2 or so on, even if that ball was down where he was only going to bat 230, he had to swing at it. In investing, there's no called strikes. People can throw Microsoft at me and, you know, you name it, any stock, General Motors, and nobody's going to call me out on called strikes. I only get a strike called if I swing at a pitch and miss. So I can wait there and look at thousands of companies day after day, and only when I see something I understand and when I like the price at which it's selling, then if I swing, if I hit it, fine. If I miss, it's a strike. But it's an enormously advantageous game, and it's a terrible mistake to think you have to have an opinion on everything. You only have to have an opinion on a few things. In fact, I've told students, if when they got out of school, they got a punch card with 20 punches on it, and that's all the investment decisions they got to make in their entire life, they would get very rich because they would think very hard about each one. And you don't need 20 right decisions to get very rich. You know, 4 or 5 will probably do it over time. So I don't worry too much about the things I don't understand. If you understand some of these businesses that are coming along and can spot things on, if you can spot on Amazon, for example, I mean, it's a tremendous accomplishment what Jeff Bezos has done. I tip my hat to him. He's a wonderful businessman. He's a good guy too. But could I have anticipated that he would be the success and 10 others wouldn't be? I'm not good enough to do that. But fortunately, I don't have to.
All right, YouTube, welcome back to the show. So we're gonna dive right into it today. We're gonna talk about how I'm doing crypto research, how I was able to find one of the best altcoins. And by the best altcoins, I mean, if I were to cherry pick things from Solana, Cardano, Polkadot, Bitcoin, if I were to take a look at the best cryptocurrencies in the game, and I were to analyze what those cryptocurrencies brought to the market, and I built their marketplace out on a visual scale so you can actually see it. When I say I found the holy grail, this is what I mean. I mean a cryptocurrency that finally offers a higher value proposition in every marketplace, in every scale, in every sector, no matter how you look at this cryptocurrency. This is the holy grail. So I wanted to show you guys the research that I've done, how I'm doing this research, and how I've come to the conclusion that this one cryptocurrency should be a top 5 cryptocurrency in the next year and a half. And what that's gonna look like financially, it's really gonna blow your mind. So let's dive deep, guys. When we talk about a marketplace, like what is a cryptocurrency marketplace? I'm not talking about a marketplace where you can buy and sell NFTs. I'm not talking about an exchange where you can buy and sell crypto. I'm talking about a marketplace that actually consumes or sucks in other players to the game. So because Bitcoin mining is so profitable and it consumes so much energy, players like DTE, Consumers, Marathon, BP, these players are now investing in Bitcoin mining farms to help manage intermittent energy. What that's doing is it's reducing the cost of energy for people that live in the area, and it allows a way for an energy sector that was just letting energy go to waste to now consume every bit of wasted energy. They run the Bitcoin miners. Bitcoin miners are literally mining digital gold, and if they mine it and just hold on to that asset, it's going to appreciate for very long periods of time. So you now have the energy sectors that are getting involved in Bitcoin. Because technology is evolving, it's all about being what? What do you want your cryptocurrency to be? Technology, it's always going to be evolving because
how do we survive in a hostile universe? We have to figure out how we can get harder, smarter, faster, and stronger.
Bigger than that of major companies like Procter & Gamble, Bank of America, and PayPal, just to name a few. So Michael, what is your position on Ethereum now? Are you bullish? Are you bearish? What's your outlook?
I think you can divide the entire crypto world into crypto assets and crypto applications. And so crypto asset networks are meant to store a long duration safe haven asset for a decade, a century, a millennium. And Bitcoin is, of course, the leader in that space. I think crypto application networks are meant to do lots of different things. It might be DeFi, it might be NFT, it might be operate stable coins or provide very flexible application rails. Ethereum clearly is the leader in that space. I think that there's a whole set of investors that are interested in investing in applications. That would be different than the class of investors that are looking for an asset. For example, corporate treasurers or widows and orphans insurance funds, they just want to store their money for 100 years and they don't want complications. But, you know, the world's full of tech investors and venture capital investors that are always looking for the latest, greatest cool thing. I think that, from my point of view, the application space it's going to be a bit riskier because of more centralization, more complexity, and more competition in the space. But, you know, that means that there'll be higher highs, lower lows, and a lot more fireworks along the way.
So you still clearly maintain your position that there's no comparable asset to Bitcoin, that Ethereum is in a whole other category. As you just stated again, it's the unicorn categories, you referred to it before. But are you at all interested in getting into the unicorn application category? Is that something that you would personally invest in or use MicroStrategy cash to invest in?
No, I don't think it's appropriate for a corporate treasury, and it's not really appropriate for us. Our business is to acquire and to hold Bitcoin. I think that crypto applications would be appropriate for crypto venture funds and crypto-specific technology investors.
Faster, smarter, harder, and faster. Our technology constantly has to evolve. So Bitcoin miners can only mine Bitcoin so fast today, but it's 10 times faster than the previous model, just 10 times faster than the previous model. So as technology evolves, right, so does mining, which forces people roughly every 4 years to pretty much upgrade their mining equipment. So you have this constant consumer of energy, at least for the next 14 years. Constant consumer of technology for the next 14 years. When you have these big players in a market, they end up attracting the politicians. The politicians write laws and regulations which allow financial sectors, banks, institutions, universities to start adding this asset to their portfolio as a way to preserve wealth. So we have miners, spatial. As far as a currency goes, for me to wire you $10 million, guess what? I'm paying a lot of fees. If I want to do that in Bitcoin, fractions of a penny, or if I want to do that on Solana, fractions of a fraction of a penny, right? I can send you $1 million in Solana and it'll only cost me 1/1000th of a penny or less to actually execute that transaction. So as far as space, as far as being a spatial layer, Bitcoin has it on every other currency 10 times over. A better way to visualize that, right? If you are a restaurant and you owned a restaurant in a town and you happen to be the only restaurant in that town, well, on the other side of town, I put in another restaurant. And at my restaurant, I offer better food at a more affordable price and I have top-notch service. It won't be hard for me to disrupt you, and it won't be hard for anybody to disrupt me if they come and they add that higher value proposition on one side of a one-sided marketplace. That's why Facebook was so easy to disrupt MySpace, because they could easily dominate and take that over. Maybe you put your restaurant in a strip mall, and in that strip mall there's a gym, an arcade, a nail salon, a dry cleaners, a barbershop, and an oil change place. I could easily put in a restaurant that doesn't have the greatest service, that doesn't have the best food, that maybe is a little bit more expensive, but because it's convenient and I'm located next to all of these other things, I'm gonna get some trickle down from that. I could literally drop my car off at the oil change place, drop the wife off at the nail salon, I could go get my hair cut, I could order some food, eat lunch with my wife. She could then go get her hair done while I take the clothes to the dry cleaner. We drop the kids off at the arcade after lunch, and then if everybody's still busy, I can swing to the gym and get in a workout. It would be very hard to disrupt that type of marketplace because you add value on so many different sides that it makes it super hard to disrupt. So if we take out the miners, right, you lose energy, you lose technology, you don't really need politicians, banks, institutions, hedge funds. Without politics and regulations, not many big players want to step in and put their money into that asset. So to help you guys get a better understanding of that, right, we have two different types of cryptocurrencies. We have assets and we have applications. Bitcoin is more so an asset that is property, right, where you could build a house on it, you could build a farm on it, you could build a business on it. A application is more so like a website. Now, could turn into Facebook, right? There's a lot of very successful applications. So I'm not saying that applications won't be very successful, because there are applications. I'm pretty sure if we look at companies like Apple with a $10 trillion market cap, so there are applications that can be very, very profitable. So I'm not saying that Ethereum is not going to be a very profitable investment, both long and short term. I'm talking about the fact that everything is literally switching to proof of stake, because when Ethereum first went in that direction, I think everybody looked at Ethereum like, oh, what's Ethereum doing? We're gonna do what Ethereum's doing, because that would make sense to replicate. People were looking at proof of work so bad because it consumes so much energy, but they weren't actually analyzing and doing a deep dive into the research and seeing where that energy was actually coming from. A majority of Bitcoin miners are using green energy, or they're using energy that was going to be completely wasted anyway, so they're not really taking anything away from a grid. So do you want to be investing in an asset or an application? Applications it's easier to disrupt. We've seen it with MySpace and Facebook. We see it time and time again. As technology evolves, if that asset cannot update and cannot scale, how do you think the cryptocurrency would look different if Bitcoin had smart contracts, was completely scalable, and every bottleneck or issue with Bitcoin and or Ethereum was solved? How many of these different layer 2 scaling solutions would be out if Ethereum switched to Ethereum 2.0 in 2016 like they were supposed to? If we swing over to my YouTube channel and you go to sort by oldest, 5 years ago, and this is when I first started looking into mining, I go, oh man, I don't want to invest all that money into mining equipment, because when Ethereum switches to proof of stake, like, I got a short period of time. I need to get these miners up and running as fast as possible, because once they switch, I'm not going to be able to mine Ethereum. And I didn't even think about mining other coins at the time because there just weren't that many. So it was always in the back of my head, like, I need to figure out how I can mine as much Ethereum as fast as possible, because this switch is going to make. So if I was making videos on Ethereum switching to proof of work in 2016, and it's now 2021 and that change hasn't taken place yet, it should raise some red flags like, hey, maybe this isn't the best way to go. Or maybe if they would have looked back, would they still do it? I never hear anybody ask Vitalik that question. If you could still go back in time, would you have figured out a way to make Ethereum scalable as a proof of work, or would you have continued down the proof of stake rabbit hole? So when I'm looking at new cryptocurrencies, what I'm looking for, smart contracts, NFTs, DeFi, and team. I want to know what type of smart contracts they have, what type of NFT projects or what potential do their NFT projects have? Are they scalable? Are they secure? Are they proof of work or proof of stake? Once we actually have a proof of stake cryptocurrency get deemed as a asset, meaning a property, not a security, then we can add, okay, proof of stake over here. But as of now, the only thing we can do is look at what the SEC has been hinting towards, and most likely they're going to be hinting towards all proof of stake blockchains are securities. So then we look at DeFi. What does their DeFi ecosystem look like? Is it like Solana or Ethereum, which are pretty much already completely developed as far as getting in on that ground level? I still think Ethereum is going to continue to grow, but I don't think it's going to 5x, 10x, 100x, where some new coins like these, like Kadena, we actually can. So your DeFi ecosystem is going to bring in stable coins. It's going to bring in decentralized exchanges. It's going to bring in borrowing, lending protocols. It's going to bring in bridges. Your team has to have knowledge, right? They have to have experience in cryptocurrency or have the resources to actually acquire people that have all of these things. SEC experience, tech experience, banking experience, blockchain experience. Kadena's CEO, Stuart Popejoy, was from JP Morgan Chase. They have vast blockchain development because they built JP Morgan Chase's first blockchain. So they have the technology and skills. And then Will, their other CEO, came from the SEC. He created the SEC blockchain division. Now, don't quote me on how I said that, but just to give you guys the general context of it. So their team's on point. Smart contracts, they are the only smart contract that actually is wrote with human readable code. We've all been a part of plenty of rug pulls, right? Cryptocurrency tells us one thing, we take a look at the code and we're like, we need to get Albert Einstein in here to figure out exactly what this code says, right? Because it's written in computer readable code. Kadena is the first blockchain to actually have human readable code. So when they tell you that this asset's locked or this address is doing this or this function does this, you can literally look at it and go 1 + 1 = 2, boom. If I put my seatbelt on, I lock my door, I can then start my car because that is what the code is going to allow. So think about your smart contracts the same way. But if you tell me that I can only start my car if I have my seatbelt on and my door is locked, that doesn't stop me from putting the seatbelt behind my back and actually clicking it in, right? And what we've seen with so many of these rug pulls before, they will tell us that the code says one thing, but then if you actually go back and analyze the code, there's that little loophole or that back door for a developer to actually change the lock mechanism, where certain protocols will say that their developer addresses are locked for 5 years because they know that nobody's actually going to go back through and actually verify. So that's where audits actually help a lot. And the industry is coming more standardized to actually saying, hey, if this cryptocurrency doesn't have an audit, I want nothing to do with it. So smart contracts for Kadena on that absolute next level. And to take that a step farther with their NFT game, Solana needs to use Arweaver to actually verify authenticity. So when you actually mint a NFT on the Solana blockchain, that image is actually uploaded to Arweaver's Internet Forever cloud storage system, where Kadena smart contracts, their token is actually a smart contract where you can actually write in code to that actual asset. So that allows people to actually put documents. Now you can't put a huge video, but you can actually put an in-depth document right on the blockchain. So everything is actually on the blockchain. So when you mint an NFT and you want to verify authenticity, they don't need to use another third party to do so. So this just gives you a general understanding of different cryptocurrency assets. So when people start talking about different coins, and you're looking at a coin like MetaHero, right? I just sold all of my MetaHero to buy more Kadena. Why? Because MetaHero is a one-sided marketplace. They have a body scanner and they're gonna scan things and put them into video games. Maybe they put them into metaverse projects. So I definitely think that this application has a massive amount of utility. But I'm looking at this market cap going, okay, 500 million, right? Maybe it does a 5x or a 10x and they have a $5 billion market cap. Especially the fact that they're most likely going to be a security, unless they're proof of work, which I don't think they are. They're on Binance Smart Chain. They don't have their own token. Makes me think that this is going to be a security. It's going to be deemed an application and it's going to be limited as far as growth. We see an audit, but they're still self-reported over here on CoinMarketCap. There's been a lot of hopes and promises from the MetaHero team, which we haven't seen them follow through on. So I'm just looking at this as in like, okay, this is an asset where I definitely have to monitor it. I have to keep my eye on it. I need to see if it's going to be, fluctuating in price. We just seen it run up to 18 cents. And ever since it's just been pretty much trending down and down and down. So I got lucky. I got out of this one at roughly And I got out of this one at like 11 cents. We bought into this one at 2 cents over here when I first put that coin on your radar. So we 10x'd $50,000 on that, sold all my Meta Hero, and now I'm moving those assets over to start buying more Kadena because Kadena just meets the criteria on every single level. I kind of wanted to break things down and how I look at the growth of a cryptocurrency. So we're looking at Kadena right now and the price keeps going up so freaking fast. I can't keep everything up to date for you guys. So last time I checked, Kadena was roughly $6 and there's 153 million coins in circulation. And what's unique about this aspect, how market cap is calculated, is it's supply times price equals market cap. So if we take 153 million coins in circulation, multiply that by the price, that gives us a market cap of $900 billion. So if I jump over to coin market cap and I pull up Kadena, I can see now that Kadena is 615. The market cap is roughly almost $1 billion, 946 million, which when we talk about layer one blockchains, Bitcoin has a 1.2 trillion, Ethereum 482 billion, Binance 100 billion, Cardano 94. Dogecoin was able to get up to 89 billion and XRP at 84 billion. If Dogecoin with no real world value just got popular, it just doesn't even make sense, right? So I'm looking at Kadena with 625 million. That was obviously 2 days ago when it was $4. You guys can watch in this video. I literally just bought another $10,000 or $20,000 worth at $6. I'm not afraid to buy another $20,000 worth because at this price point, it's inevitable that Kadena becomes, unless it gets hacked or some unforeseen, chain of events actually unfolds, that it's just inevitable that Kadena becomes a top 5 cryptocurrency and it has a market cap of $100 billion. So when we talk about how does it get here, how does it get to this point, we need to understand how the cryptocurrency network effect actually takes place. Inside this network and this ecosystem, what we also build, and the next layer, which I haven't actually pointed out yet, is the community layer. So when you talk about a community, why does Bitcoin do so well? Because every time the Bitcoin market goes bearish or starts dumping down, you have every Bitcoin bull stepping up, putting out content. When the miners are under attack, you see people from the energy sector start dedicating resources to kind of debunk the FUD, right? We see people like Michael Saylor going out of their way to let everybody know, hey, proof of work's not bad for the environment. What's bad for the environment is dirty energy. We need to make sure that Bitcoin miners are consuming green energy and or making sure that the energy that they're consuming, if it's dirty, it would have been wasted either way. What we should see with Kadena and the growth of Kadena, we have the launch, right? Launch normally brings in anywhere from $1 million to $10 million as far as market cap. Then when they launch beta, right, their beta version actually goes out and people can start, interacting with their blockchain or their protocol. I think we normally see things go from like 10 million to 100 million. Hit that 100 million cap, okay, most likely they're probably moving more towards like a mainnet. Now we see Solana still on testnet with $50 billion market cap. So, every coin is different. When we talk about mainnet launches, I think the mainnets normally take things to like 100 million to 250 million. And that's kind of where I first kind of found Kadena. It was right in this ballpark. And I started looking into mining. Okay, so now if we talk about a cryptocurrency being a mining operation, I think that mining alone could bring an additional $3 billion to $5 billion over a year period when that coin finally starts to boom because of how many people are going to be willing to dedicate resources to mining it because it's going to be so profitable. Now, each time a cryptocurrency gets launched on a new exchange, especially a big layer one blockchain like Kadena, I think you'll see at least $1 billion coming in the market from the average exchanges. I'm talking about Bittrex, Kraken. Now, if it gets launched on Binance, I think Binance alone will probably bring about 2 billion into that market, especially over like a 90-day period. I think it'll bring $1 billion in immediately, and then probably another 5 billion over the next couple of months. Coinbase, I definitely think Coinbase alone could bring $5 billion into Kadena. DeFi, when DeFi launches, I think you're looking at another $5 billion worth of projects, especially if they have good DEXs. And that's just based off of monitoring, seeing what Solana, seeing what Matic, seeing what Avalanche and all these other DeFi ecosystems have done. And we'll dive into that a little deeper. Then we talk about influencers, right? I was just able, I think, to help people see the value in Kadena, which added roughly about 250 million to now maybe over almost 500 million to the market cap of this cryptocurrency. Then later down the road, we should start seeing news and media outlets. Once a cryptocurrency gets picked up by the media and the news and they start getting those headline attention, I bet you the first big news article that launches and talks about Kadena being a competitor for Ethereum or Bitcoin, I think we'll see another at least $1 billion every time we see a big news media outlet talk about this cryptocurrency on a global scale. And then from there, we're talking about probably a couple of years from now, we'll see institutions and big players once Kadena, and if Kadena gets deemed as a property, then you'll start attracting institutions, energy sectors, politicians, and that's when it really snowballs. But I think that this is like the groundwork of how I'm looking at the growth of a cryptocurrency. So we talk about, so that leads us into right now where we're at, right? We've seen Polkadot get to a market cap of $45 billion with no DeFi. We've seen Cardano get to 94 billion without smart contracts or DeFi. We've watched Ethereum go from $130 per coin to $4,400 in 600 days because March 20th was when CryptoKitties launched and people started to see the value in DeFi and cryptocurrency and smart contracts. That's what took Ethereum from 130 to 4,400 in 600 days. Binance went from 23 to 688 in 510 days. Solana went from 20 to 210 in 204 days. Terra 5 to 44, Avalanche 10 to 75. Matic went from 2 cents to $2.68 in 470 days. The DeFi ecosystem for Ethereum is $161 billion. Binance 27 billion, Solana 13, Terra 10 billion, Avalanche 7, Polygon 5 billion. So you talk about any application that's actually built on Ethereum, if they move to Kadena, would be smarter, faster, stronger, longer. Binance starting to hit those bottlenecks with transactions because the network's growing so fast that it can't keep up. Solana, we saw Solana crash. The next big Star Atlas event, most likely we're going to see some issues with Solana as well. That's why I just sold my Solana as well and moved it over. So every angle that we look at and where we can see Kadena going over the next 5 to 10 years, I want to break things down. I want to show you guys my actual strategy for investing in Kadena. So obviously I've been buying Kadena with every resource that I can. I just sold $20,000 worth of ERC20 tokens when Kadena was at $4 and I bought in at absolute peak formation. I just bought another $15,000 worth of Kadena at peak formation at $6. And I'm gonna continue to do so all the way till Kadena hits $40 per coin. So when we talk about market caps, it seems like the layer one bottleneck or layer one peak seems to be between 50 billion and 100 billion. So I broke down how much money would need to be invested into Kadena for it to 2x, 5x, 10x. For Kadena to 20x right now and go from $6 to $120, we would see the market cap roughly at $18 billion. Now, I still think that that's an underestimate, but even if we said when Kadena hits $60, it has a market cap of 9 billion. I still think that even when it gets to 9 billion, it easily still has that 10x ROI from there. So maybe I didn't think this strategy through too well, but just to give you guys an idea, you can adjust this and continue to scale in as much as you'd like or however you'd like. This is my $10,000 a year micro strategy for Kadena. Meaning if Kadena hit $10 right now and stayed at $10 for the rest of the year of 2021, and you were able to put $10,000 into Kadena at $10 or DCA into it, buy the dips throughout a year, and you were able to put $1,000 in a month, 10 months out of the year, you put $10,000 into that coin. So let's just say right now in 2021, you're able to accumulate 1,000 coins and you spend $10,000. Then over the next year, in 2022, the price of Kadena gets up to 15, and because you're still putting in $1,000 a month, your average price is $15. So each year you can see here, if this is 2021, 2022, 2023, 2024, 2025, 2026, whatever the case may be, right? If I put in $10,000 and the price of the coin is right here, I can buy this many assets, this many, right? At the very end, your asset, your initial 70,000 will have doubled in value and it'll be worth 140,000. Now, fast forward, Kadena breaks $100 with a roughly a $95 billion market cap. Your $70,000 investment would be worth 350,000. If it goes to $200, you're gonna have 700,000. If it goes to $300, you would have roughly $1 million. So we're talking about being able to take $10,000 a year for the next 5 years, or as long as Kadena is under $40. if you are able to accumulate 3,520 coins of Kadena, and the same network effect that happened to Bitcoin and Ethereum and every other big layer 1 blockchain that's actually real, that has the technology that's infinitely scalable. We've never had any that are infinitely scalable and could be deemed a property like Bitcoin. We've never seen another coin come out with proof of work technology that's infinitely scalable, and Kadena's already proven that because they have basically a tangle chain. So instead of having a blockchain where blocks are built on top of blocks, they have a web. They call it the chain web, right? Because each blockchain connects and it creates this. Watch my other video. It just makes me think that how does this cryptocurrency not end up on the top 5? It doesn't even have to be the top 1, but in reality, the more you think about it, and you're talking about evolution, survival of the fittest, any way you look at this cryptocurrency, it ends up most likely being at that very top slot, unless a competitor comes into the marketplace, adds superior value on every single level. And because the learning curve, the development, the coding, the engineers, everything is on such a very hard, right? Cardano engineers from Plutus are $125,000 a month. So that's roughly like $1.2 million a year for a Plutus engineer on your project. I know this because I've spoken with a couple of different DEXs that are actually getting developed, and they're paying roughly $125,000 a month for a Plutus engineer. And I want to say, for a starting engineer in any cryptocurrency field, if you are a software engineer in the blockchain sector, starting pay is $350,000 a year. Just to speak to an engineer, just to even get his attention, talking about $350,000 a year. So this isn't something where you can come and build your own blockchain and get all the resources you need and just open one up. There's a lot of applications that look that way because you're literally copying and pasting code because you got no skin in the game. And that's where it boils back to proof of work. You need that skin in the game, because if you are proof of stake and you're open source, I can literally go copy your code, create the exact same blockchain, and be a competitor right next to you. And now I just have to cherry pick and add a little bit more value because there's no skin in the game. There's no proof of work, right? To replace Bitcoin's mining network, do you know how much money you'd have to throw at something to basically add a higher value proposition on a different level? It's so hard to do. Before I chart things out, and I don't even really need to look at a chart anymore because I just look at the big picture, and it brings me back to what Warren Buffett said. If you could only invest or buy one car for the rest of your life, what would it be? If you could only invest into 10 cryptocurrencies for the rest of your life, you'd really start to analyze and see things a lot differently. And this is what just had me selling all of my other altcoins, because I'm looking at big picture and I'm like, I don't want to chase down 100 different altcoins. I'm not necessarily, I would love for every cryptocurrency that I invested in to 100x, but it's just not the case. So a lot has to do with you're waiting on the team like MetaHero, or waiting on them to launch their MetaHero scanner. And that's like a 5-year project that's just going to keep getting pushed off because we're dependent on one market. Where Kadena, we could see an NFT launch and take Kadena to the next level. That brings us back to the network effect, right? I made that video on Kadena, and because Kadena's a really good big name cryptocurrency, and I had 50,000 subscribers, and we watched the market cap increase by $500 million in a period of a week. That means that because the value add is there for other YouTubers, because it all boils down to likes, views, and subscribers, right? If I put out a video on a good cryptocurrency and that cryptocurrency starts booming, what happens? It starts trending. It starts getting a lot of views. It starts getting a lot of media attention. It starts getting a lot of buzz in the cryptocurrency world. The network effect takes place. Because I made one video and it's doing extremely well, it's a good cryptocurrency, it has everything, it can disrupt that market, it becomes a major value add. The only downfall is people like Coin Bureau that didn't find it first, right? Maybe he doesn't want to, or maybe BitBoy doesn't like me, and he knows, which we probably already know, that Banner and the Moon Boys, because I give him such a hard time for just nonstop shilling garbage coins. Well, we will start to see the network effect take place. If they launch anything gaming related, or their NFTs start popping like they should, we will see Becker, Crypto R Us start making videos on them. Sheldon, Crypto, right? You see the network effect that's about to take place with a coin like Kadena. And if I was able to add, with 50,000 subscribers and only 10,000 views, if I was able to add 500 billion or 500 million to a market cap, what do you think is going to happen when BitBoy, Coin Bureau, Banter, Moon Boys, Meet Kevin, Wendy, Kite, Crypto R Us, all the biggest names in the industry start making videos on Kadena? It's going to turn into a snowball of the network effect, which is going to bring the price of this coin up. So as of now, I'm pretty sure I was the first big influencer in the cryptocurrency ecosystem that was actually making videos on Kadena. I say that because if one of my videos was able, if a couple of my videos and a few interviews were able to send the price of Kadena running up like that, what that leads me to believe is that other cryptocurrency influencers haven't, because I never saw a video on Kadena. I found Kadena by doing research into blockchains, and I think it started trending over on Lunar Crush. So I saw that it was trending and I started looking in the tech and I made a video on it and I reached out to their team reached out back. I had their engineer come on the show. The first time I made a video on Kadena. So when we look at Kadena on this chart, the first time Kadena ended up on my radar was roughly a little over a month and a half ago. And price had just hit a price point of like $1.99, and I thought it was gonna retrace, but I didn't think it was done pumping, or I wasn't sure if it was done pumping. So I charted this out as a Elliott wave 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Look at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I was trying to, guesstimate where I thought the peak of that fifth leg was gonna be. So I charted it out. And if you guys will watch my video, you'll see it. So I called the price on this peak to 243 based off of market structure, and it actually hit 249. So I nailed that target peak within a few pennies. That completed our 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So what you'll actually see, because this turns into our macro 1, now we're working on our macro 3, and you can see the same market structure just played out right here again. We can see we had our 1 here. We built our 2, our 3, and now we're building our 4th and 5th again, which is going to complete that 3. And because the market's so bullish and people see the massive value add, it's hard for people to not see the value in this cryptocurrency. So where I'm going with that is I called the retrace down here to $1.43. And I said, hey, if Kadena hits $1.43, I'm buying. I didn't own any Kadena. I thought it was a great coin. I didn't do enough research to immediately see the value, or I would have FOMO'd in instantly at peak formation, wouldn't have thought twice about it. But randomly it happened to come down. I looked at my phone. I was actually watching my own interview, and I said, dang guys, I was thinking about it. The more I thought about it, I'm gonna regret this so bad if I'm the first crypto YouTuber to really break Kadena, or to be the one putting out saying, hey guys, pay attention to this one. If I didn't buy it, so I bought some. I bought like 4,000 or 5,000. And my goal was to buy 3,300 coins before it broke above $2. So I just kept buying it more and more and more. And then I finally hit that goal, and I was looking at other crypto assets that I had, and I was thinking to myself, that's just not enough, guys. Why am I worrying about if, Solana is going to go up in 2x or Polkadot's going to go 2x when I could literally just buy more Kadena? It just doesn't make sense to put my money into any other asset because none of them have upside potential like Kadena does. So where I'm going with this is if I remove all my drawings, and I look at this market structure and I said, okay, there's my 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I just completed this next upper leg, right? Where are my key retrace targets as far as a big scale retrace goes? Do I think Kadena is going to retrace all the way back down? So if I look at that on a bigger scale, I can say, okay, if that was my 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, my key retrace targets for Kadena right now would be as follows, because we definitely had an extremely bullish run up. I think some people that don't see the long-term potential, or some people that want to try to play the game, they're going to be taking profits. Like a pump just can't go straight up, right? But we could see more people start to realize what I'm realizing, because every time we've seen Kadena retrace at any other time, it was so short-lived and it just ran up to the next level and then the next level. So maybe you hold off and you get lucky and you catch Kadena at 509, maybe 459, and if you are the luckiest person in the world, you see it come back down to 394. If it comes back down into the 5 ranges, I'm gonna sell all my Cardano and buy more, just to let you guys, just to kind of give you guys an idea of what I'm thinking. If we come into the $5 range, I'm gonna start selling off some other assets that I don't really think that has nearly the potential that Kadena does, right? If we get down in the 4s again, I'll start selling even bigger assets. If we get down into the 3s again, I will start selling assets like Cardano. I don't really know if there's any coins that I'm holding on to that I wouldn't sell besides Bitcoin. Bitcoin I'm not selling either. So Bitcoin and Kadena are going to be my big plays. If Kadena doesn't come down here, maybe my next play is to buy other assets that are associated with Kadena, like Flux, or other cryptocurrencies like KDEX that are going to be launching over here on Kadena really soon. So that's kind of where my head's at. So as far as retrace targets, those are going to be my 3 retrace targets. If I see any of them hit, I'm just going to put more and more money into Kadena Because at any time, like I said, if Coin Bureau makes a video, guess what happens? Price of Kadena doubles. If BitBoy makes a video, guess what happens? Price doubles. If Crypto Banner, Moonboys, anybody else starts to see that value and the long-term growth potential that a coin like Kadena has, it's going to the moon. Now, they could not like me and purposely not make videos, right? Or they could wait for it to retrace and then wait for everybody in their clan to kind of buy in at the same time, and then they'll pump it to the moon, but it still doubles, right? It's almost unavoidable that the network effect doesn't take place because it actually is legitly, you know, the best cryptocurrency that I've ever seen. Maybe I'm not doing my research, maybe I'm not smart enough, maybe there's something that I'm missing, but everything that I've done, every bit of research that I've showed you guys leads back to Kadena having a market cap of roughly $100 billion by 2024. And what that would look like because of Kadena's circulating supply and the amount of coins that they have in circulation. Where a coin like Bitcoin, we have a upside potential because Bitcoin is Bitcoin, right? And it has that halving every 4 years. But what happens before that halving is you normally see a sell-off for like a year leading up to the next Bitcoin halving. People start taking profits and the price just continues to go down and down and down. And I don't know if it's by design that it just happens to play out that way. And then Bitcoin will hit a low point and then people know that that halving's coming up. So then everybody starts buying. And then anytime a halving's happening, miners don't sell. So miners start holding on if they're not already holding, because they should be holding. Just like people holding on to Kadena, we shouldn't be selling. We should be holding. We should be taking that money off an exchange, putting it in a cold storage wallet, using those gains and the growth of that coin to stake it and earn rewards. So once DeFi actually opens up on Kadena and we can actually start staking our KDA and earning rewards on their dexes, I mean, that's going to lock up so much Kadena and take Kadena out of the supply. So as the DeFi ecosystem grows, even though miners are still releasing coins into circulation or putting more coins into circulation, more money is going to be getting locked in DeFi protocols where Bitcoin doesn't have a direct way to stake Bitcoin. You're normally doing it through a layer 2 scaling solution, which is okay. But that halving has a cycle of kind of like a sell-off term and then all of a sudden accumulation term, where Kadena, their halving happens every month. So every month or every time that the hash rate gets more difficult, right? The amount of Kadena that's actually released into circulation, fractional. Where Bitcoin, 99% of Bitcoin will be released into circulation by 2040. Kadena won't have 99% of coins released into circulation until 2170. So we're talking about, yes, Kadena will have more coins in circulation than Ethereum by 2170, but the amount of time that it's going to take to get there and the amount of coins that are going to be released into circulation, it's drastically different. And you guys can tell by the graph that's on the screen right now. You can see the amount of coins that'll be released into circulation, exactly when they're going to be released, exactly how many coins. And what's nice about the difficulty level, the more miners that get involved, the harder the difficulty is. And it's very controllable. It's a very controlled amount of coins released into circulation, no different than Bitcoin, just over a way longer period of time. So yeah, people look at it and go, oh, they have a billion coins in circulation, but it's not about the coins in circulation. I always thought it was. It's about the market cap and how much money is actually going to be invested into that cryptocurrency. What's going to incentivize people to invest in that cryptocurrency? And because Kadena has miners and they have the Kadena Foundation, they can actually incentivize miners to come over and mine green, where they can say, hey, if you live in this sector of the world, or you move over, or you move your miners to this town, right? We can then reward you for turning on Kadena miners in this area. So they can actually use that foundation to incentivize miners to be green. So it's not like saying, hey, we're gonna give you some 2 tokens or whatever. It's like, we are going to pay you to be green. We're gonna pay you in green to be green, if that makes sense. So even with a market cap right now of $900 million, Kadena were to 100x from its current price point, it would still have a market cap lower than Binance. It would have a market cap roughly the same size as Cardano when Cardano gets to $3. You know, Solana was able to get up to 50 billion. So I just don't see how by the year 2030 that Kadena doesn't have a $90 billion market cap. I don't see how we don't have a $18 billion market cap by 2025. And if we did, the price of Kadena would be $120, minus some more coins in circulation. I just think it's inevitable. Looking at the largest names in the game right now, and what their market caps are. And if we're talking about the Bitcoin effect and how Bitcoin brings up every other cryptocurrency, if Bitcoin's sitting at 60,000 with a $1 trillion market cap, people are talking about Bitcoin being $500,000 or $200,000 by the end of the year. You're talking about the Bitcoin market cap to get to 150,000 would need to be 2.5 trillion invested into Bitcoin. Well, that's roughly more than's invested in the entire cryptocurrency ecosystem on a global scale. I think the global market cap peaked out at 2.6 trillion. So if Bitcoin's gonna go to this price level, what's gonna happen? People are gonna see that, and eventually they're gonna take profits and they're gonna look for other cryptocurrencies that aren't developed, and they're gonna start putting those resources into those other cryptos. So either way, if you look at it, even if they just hold their Bitcoin and Bitcoin goes to 2.5 trillion as far as market cap, that's gonna automatically bring up the rest of the cryptocurrency ecosystem with it. And it's projects that are like Kadena that are gonna be the smartest, best, longest, safest, most secure, way to store value. It's inevitable. I mean, you guys can chase down the next Dogecoin, or you can chase down the next Shiba, or you can literally look at Kadena like I do. Like at this price point at $10, that is equivalent to looking at Bitcoin. And look at, again, now it's back up to 618. It was literally just at 605 a minute ago. It's because every time it's retracing down, people are waiting. Like, okay, is it gonna get back in the fives again? And they wait, and it just went from 604 to 618. What's gonna happen when Coin Bureau, all these other big name influencers start making videos? It's like, you're not gonna get that chance. And eventually it gets to the point where we've seen Solana, the first part of the bull run, go from 20 to 40 and then retrace back down to 20. They maybe went to 20 to 50 and then all the way back down to like 12 or 15 or 20. And then the market turned around, now Solana's 200. So even in the most bearish of bearish markets, I don't think we're gonna see Solana come back down to those levels, where I don't think we're gonna see Kadena, once it gets up to $20, $25, I don't think it's gonna come back to 4 to 6, right? So it's like you get in right now, you're still at a safe point where if you don't wanna take profits and we go into a bear market, we most likely will never see Kadena come down to this price. Now, I'm no investing expert and I don't give investing advice, and I'm not a financial advisor, so you guys gotta do your own research. But we also look over here. Do we see Kadena on Binance? Nope. Do we see it on Coinbase? Nope. Do we see it on Kraken? Nope. Do we see it on Bybit? Nope. Each one of those exchanges, you're talking about most likely going to bring $1 billion to that market cap. So just looking at it from this aspect, if it does nothing but gets launched onto 3 major exchanges, you 3x your money. If it gets mentioned by any big influencer outside of myself, you 3x your money. It's very rare can you invest in a cryptocurrency and be really confident that even buying in at peak formation, in a very short period of time, you are going to be in the green. And within a even shorter period, a little bit longer, you're probably going to 2x, maybe even 5x your money. Because once the snowball effect that takes place, there's just so many angles that are going to add massive amounts of value to this coin. And then the community grows. And if you're smart and you're not you always have to do what's best for yourself. You always have to make sure that, hey, you got to sell a cryptocurrency because you need to pay a bill or put a roof over your head, and you see an opportunity to make more money for yourself. You always need to do what's in your best interest. And that's all I really got, guys, on Kadena. I mean, I don't know how else I can better help you guys realize the value and potential, but I can guarantee that you can count on me that I'll be here every time a new application gets launched on Kadena. I'm going to make Kadena my #1 priority, and I want to teach you guys how to basically take your money and your investment and help you guys make it work for you. So as we move forward and we go and the Kadena DeFi ecosystem starts to get developed, I already have interviews set up with Flux. I already have interviews set up with Zelcore, the best crypto wallet for Kadena. I already have interviews set up with Flux. Flux is also working on another type, a cloud file storage system. I have the KDEX team coming on the show for an interview. So the first DEX that's going to be launched on Kadena, called KDEX. I have their team coming on the show, and I built such a good relationship with the Kadena team that I do think that hopefully their team's going to reach out anytime that there's a new partnership or anytime that there is any big technology, whatever. I'm sure they're gonna announce it themselves, but I hope that their team would want to reach out and come onto the show and talk about it. So I'm gonna be able to continuously keep you guys up to date on the next Ethereum or the next Bitcoin, every single play that happens. And as their DeFi ecosystem grows, it won't be long before we have borrowing lending. So then we can actually take our Kadena, we can stake our Kadena, we can earn rewards, we can become liquidity providers, and we can leverage our gains that we're about to make and turn that into a passive income stream and pretty much be set. Make a few smart investments now. Don't sell and dump on the market and crash the cryptocurrency. Learn how to add value to that community. And then the bigger the community gets, the stronger the community gets, the more we grow together. And we'll get to a point where we can all replace our incomes or our 9-to-5 income just staking and growing and gaining and holding value. The reason the Bitcoin network is growing so fast, it's because so many people have made profits. So the more people that get in now at this ground level, and the more people that are smart enough to hold and see the value in Kadena, the network effect will take place. And I think that 5 years from now, that there's no smarter, safer, smarter, longer term play than Kadena. At least I haven't found one with as much upside potential, with the least amount of friction when it comes to dealing with the SEC and regulations, with a good enough team, and a team that was so smart that they actually locked all developer funds for 10 years. So that guarantees us that for 10 years, we will not see one big rug pull from the team or any amount of Kadena resources being sold off. It's a win-win every way you look at it, guys. So hopefully you guys are smart enough, and hopefully you guys see the value in Kadena like I did. And if you do, and you join the squad, I'd love to chat with you guys. I'd love to keep you guys up to date. So definitely make sure that you guys check out my Discord, my private Telegram, because of YouTube streaming issues and how they throttle the channel and how live streams basically destroyed my channel because I don't have a team to organize it and keep things relevant and yada, yada, yada. Long story short, I will be doing some private live streams in Discord. So make sure you guys join the Discord, because the only time that I'm sending out those invites will be in the Discord. It's all free. I also have my digital course still on YouTube. It's $9.99. I also have a free version that's free if you can't afford it. If you take it and it helps you make money and you want to support the channel, you can pay for the $9.99 one. And that also includes a bunch of other live streams and private things and one-on-one coaching sessions that I've done with students and stuff like that over the last year and a half. So I appreciate you guys. Thank you guys so much for stopping by the channel. Again, my name's Ryan Matta. Kadena to the moon, guys. Can't wait to see you there. Peace.